This is where the Subaru Impreza is most at home. And together with Colin McRae, the Subaru Impreza devoured the competition in the late 90s. Because this is how it feels to drive one.
Holy shit! Holy shit!
But even the pros sometimes get it wrong. And sometimes really wrong. So when you make a car like this legal to drive on the road, and for a time, you could pick them up for a couple of grand in the UK, you can make a pretty good guess at what's going to end up happening. And that's exactly what happened to mine. Just 3 months ago, this car was destined for the scrapyard. And that's because it looked like this. It had been in a pretty bad accident and had received structural damage. The most profitable thing to do for this car would be to break it for parts. The biggest spoiler in the world. But that's just not what this car was made to do, to just give up. And it had so much life left in it. So, on this channel, we've rebuilt it piece by piece and completely restored the front end. If you haven't seen the video already, or if you're new to the channel, number one, welcome. Number two, go and check out the video in this top corner here, which will get you up to speed with everything so far. And then after you've done that, make sure you come back to this video, because today is the day we're going to finish the Impreza build, mostly. Basically, this car has been off the road since it was crashed, but technically it still had an MOT because it doesn't have an insurance categorization. But technically isn't really good enough. And what's the point in having a car like this if you can't drive it on the road properly? So let's get straight down to it. And by the end of this video, this car is going to be ready to go through its MOT and hopefully pass without any faults. Let's do that now. Now, the first thing we're going to do isn't actually an MOT pass or fail. It's just something that I've wanted to do since we tried to install the front mount intercooler and realised it wouldn't fit with the bumper that we wanted. So I still want to get more power to this turbo, which means more cold air, which means a bigger intercooler. And thankfully, I've got just the thing to fix it. And that thing is an STI edition top mount intercooler, which is larger and more efficient than the standard one, which means it can handle more boost. I had to remember to take off the dump valve from the old intercooler and also order a new gasket from eBay, so the new seal would be nice and tight. I wish I could say that the rest of the install was as simple as that, but in truth, getting this thing in was an absolute nightmare. The hose that goes between the intercooler and the throttle body at the bottom is so tight, and I could either get that bit in or the bolts in at the top, but not both. Anyway, after a lot of back and forth, finally, it was in. But, as some of you might already know, we're not trying to make this into an STI replica. This is a WRX Plus edition. So there was one final change that I had to make to this intercooler to make it fit the rest of the car. Yeah, I'm fully expecting the comment section to explode with, you shouldn't spray paint your intercooler, it ruins performance. But when you see the final result, it looks pretty cool. And most of the forums say it doesn't make that much difference anyway. That actually looks alright. There's definitely a need to tidy up some bits, like it's oversprayed there and at the bottom. But whether it's your taste or not is a different issue. But you can't argue, it is becoming one of one. From every angle as well. In my opinion, it looks absolutely great. Well, there's definitely no others like it, which is the theme of the whole build. We're not trying to build an STI. This is a WRX Plus. For an MOT, we also need seatbelts. Now, these need replacing because when the crash happened, they have little explosive charges in them that tension the seatbelt so it pulls you back into the seat. Super clever system, but it does mean that once those explosives have been set off, you need to replace the whole thing. They're pretty easy to replace. It's a like-for-like replacement, so it's trims off, bolts off, and then just fit the new seat belts in the reverse way that you took the old ones off. Then it was just a case of replacing the trims, lining it all back up, and that's another job done. One step closer to MOT readiness. Next job is a windscreen, and for this, it was down to auto windscreens. These guys are the business. I felt like I was 10 years old again, asking questions about how it all worked, and he makes it look so easy. So we had this kind of cheese wire thing that he suctioned onto the inside of the glass and then ratcheted it all the way around, and the screen just popped out in one piece.
There it was, gone.
Then he laid some primer down on the car and on the new screen to set the adhesive off. So it's a special tube for it. What happened next is just genius. He picked up the screen and hooked it onto this kind of suction thing on the passenger side window, which then enabled him to walk around the other side and lay the screen in the perfect place, line it up, sink it down, and then it was in. I can't recommend these guys enough. Auto windscreens. They came within 2 days of me ringing up, and he was in and out within 45 minutes. Top job. I think that's the cleanest windscreen I've ever had. Ever. The next job to do is one that has plagued us since the beginning of the entire project, which is the coolant system. We got a new radiator, that didn't actually fit properly. So then we got another radiator, but it turns out the bug eye and the blob eye were like, there was some crossover. But this morning, a much awaited package arrived, which I'm gonna open now. It is from Silver Lake Automotive Recycling, and it should be a radiator that fits. So far, so good. The new radiator was perfect, apart from one bit of damage that I did not see on the listing. They haven't got those bits. Right, I'll have to cut these off and super glue them on. Let's strip all the fans off here, put them on here, and get it in. See if we can run up to temperature and hopefully it'll work. Or also clip the air conditioning to the front of it as well. Cue another time lapse. Right, it's all built up now. Had an absolute nightmare getting these brackets off, but thankfully, when I bought the wrong radiator, it did come with brand new brackets. So they're replaced, they're brand new, gotta go back in. Let's hope it fits. After the radiator and AC were in, I test fitted the bumper to see what it would look like. And I noticed that the blue crash bar really shows through the WRC bumper. And I had some spray paint left over, so I can't wait for the comments section on this one. The last part of the installation is connecting up the AC lines, tightening up all the hoses, and installing the radiator brackets. And now we're ready to add the coolant. You fill the coolant system in the old-fashioned way. Apparently it helps bleed quicker if you lift up the front, so you fill from the highest point of the system, which makes sense. And then you fill it from the radiator, and then turn the engine on and let the coolant bleed through the system. It's holding steady. And up until now, the system had never bled through to the heater matrix.
Oh, the heaters are blowing hot.
So this was a good sign.
Yes!
But things were going a little bit too well.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Now, apparently, I've just got to leave it to warm up. It wasn't long before I realised I'd made a rookie mistake and forgotten to put the radiator cap back on the radiator once it got up to temperature. And this is what happens when you do that. Whoa. Too much coolant? Damn. Hopefully, it's just messy and it'll all dry out. I shouldn't have got into anything, but really bad form. What an idiot. I think we've just about averted a crisis. But there was another issue that had appeared since I installed the intercooler. On a cold start, this is how it sounds. As though it's not getting enough air in, like it's choking. But with the mass airflow sensor unplugged, runs fine. But then as soon as you plug it back in, it does this.
Absolutely hates it.
My first thought was maybe it just needs a good clean. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not supposed to be that black. So I ordered some specific MAF cleaner and cleaned it the next day. But the issue's still there. I'm thinking it might be like a tuning issue because the intercooler's bigger, but I actually have no idea. I'm at a loss for this one, so if you can help and you know what it might be, please let me know in the comments. But now, it's time for the final thing we need for an MOT. Lights. And I've picked out some classics for this build, but first we need a new battery. Then I could get on to trying to figure out what on earth this nest of wires behind meant, and how on earth you could connect the morettes to it. We've got indicator plugged in, dipped and main. All plugged in, let's see if they work. Progress was looking good, but we still didn't have main beam. So, basically, I just looked for things that looked roughly the same shape and plugged things in that kind of made sense. The biggest struggle was getting the dipped beam to turn off when the main beam came on, but after a lot of trial and error, everything was ready for the first proper test. This could be it. Fingers crossed for the second time. That's it! That's it! Yes! Yeah, boy! Yeah!
Can I flex? Yes, yes, oh my god. Can I flex? Yes, yes, oh my god. Can I flex? Yes, yes, oh my god. Can I flex? Yes, yes, oh my god.
It was a late night, but it was worth it, because the next day is the day that it goes to the garage. Let's go. Listen to that noise. Anyway, we need to observe all of the necessary speed limits. Now it's got up to temperature, maybe the lambda sensors, the O2 sensors in the exhaust have taken over, and that's now telling the ECU what to do. But maybe not. It just sounds so good. It's can't believe this is me in 2025 in a flipping ridiculous bonnet, blue Subaru Impreza. Crazy. Let's take this bus. Woohoo! Oh my god, I've become a yob. I've turned into a yob. I'm gonna have to buy a Burberry hat. It's great fun to drive, and you just feel as though everyone who drives past goes, I wish that I just got one of them. Here we are, MOT centre. It's made it, and it's held temperature absolutely rock solid the whole time. Good. Right, let's take it in and see what they have to say for themselves about it. It's probably going to be, what the hell have you brought that for? You absolute clown. Wow. Bit of history in it. A classic car, this. A classic car. Well, it's been one hell of a journey, but we've finally made it to the MOT centre, and I've got a fairly good feeling it's going to pass, but who knows? You never know with these things. It might come back with a list. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to click the like button and subscribe so you can find out what happens in the next video, whether it passes or not. Or maybe the video after that, because there's something interesting coming on the way. So, thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.